What's up guys, it's Drac, and I remember promising you guys an ultimate Vortex loadout if we got enough likes on my Vortex re-announced video, and we definitely blew way past those. Thank you so much for liking that video. And so we're going to do the loadout video first, and then one of our upcoming top 5 Fridays will be a Vortex top 5 to kind of reacclimate and reintroduce the line, let people know which ones were the best and which ones were not that great. There also weren't that many of them, so it won't be too terribly hard to go through and find the 5 best, the cream of the crop. But let's start off with my loadout. So I decided that for my loadout I absolutely had to use one of the new blasters, the Pyragon being just a reimagined version of the Praxis, which in my mind was the best of the Vortex blasters. So that means that it has all the pump action power that it needs. This one's been torqued out at this point. I do have a mod guide on the Praxis which would serve for the Pyragon. All you have to do is look up Praxis mod guide. I think it's back in the day when I would have called it the ultimate Praxis mod guide, but very simple, a few quick locks and then you just move the torsion spring back a couple of positions. I went ahead and added an F10555 tube stock to it, and then I added a regular, I think like Magpul style stock to that. So I've added something that gives me a much more comfortable bracing point for this. Now the original Praxis came with this ultra wimpy floppy Vortex stock. It was not very good. This is rock solid, very cool, and then I actually really like the AFG on the Pyragon. I think that it's ultra comfy, but since it's mag-fed, that meant that we had to build out an entirely new utility belt. Now, luckily, and it's going to be hard for me to get this 100% right, but let's say, hypothetically, that we ran out of our 40 disc drum. So that is done now. Let's kind of talk about what else built onto the belt. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of chest rigs. I have started using them for airsoft, but not a monstrous fan of them. So I do love building these battle belt rigs. I actually really like attaching things to them in thigh rigs, because not only does that add to your kind of usable area on your belt rig, but it also locks the belt rig to you in 2 different anchor points, creating a very good, very flexible, very movable sort of loadout. But the Vortex line is really interesting. The ammunition is non-compressible. A lot of people don't know that, but the discs have this solid rubber core, and so they don't mind being compressed. They don't smush like darts, which means that you can actually pretty efficiently store them in a ginormous dump pouch. So this is a huge gas mask pouch that just has nothing but sweet, sweet loose Vortex ammo. Oh yeah. So, there's more where that came from. I could keep grabbing handfuls and handfuls of this stuff, but that's the purpose of this ginormous Army Navy surplus gas mask pouch. It just has this big Velcro thing on it, and since it's a gas mask pouch, it's designed to be gotten into pretty fast. You can just grab and rip, very similar to like how a lot of first aid kits are rippable these days, because we figured out that was pretty smart. This is just a big panel that lifts up and opens up to let you get in to all of your ammo. So this would be great for both like a Pyragon where you're constantly topping off on the fly, but in this case it is exclusively here to feed my sidearm. So I modded up a super custom Praxis, and not Praxis, Proton. The Proton was one of my favorite blasters, and once you removed all the locks, you could really get cute with it. I also loved that it had this return mech so that you could throw something in, do this, and then fire. This one's of course been retorqued a little bit, and it's got this signature leather wrap that I am well known for. So we leather wrapped it to give it better grip. It's down here in a custom Apex Weapon Systems holster. This is really nice. It's a very difficult blaster to make a good holster for. That's nobody's fault necessarily. It's just a tricky blaster to hold because of this big front bulbousy area, and this is so narrow to the blaster that it's not easy to create a proper bucket for it. But by using this custom Velcro backstrap here, it sits very nicely in there. It does interact slightly with my magazine pouches here, but as far as this goes as a sidearm, I think that it's really cool. So I like that even if you were to run out of magazines, you could very easily come in, grab some of these out of your loadout's pouch, and move through very quickly like that. So it's a primary and a sidearm. They're both spring powered, but springs are really the bread and butter of the Vortex line. So this one's been modified and this one's been modified. You can tell because mine will actually open up and let you check to see if you're loaded before moving through. I want to say it can also be deprimed, but as you can see, that's a little tricky just because of how that return mechanism works on these guys. And then in addition to that, so that's 1 in the chamber here, plus 40 in the shoot, they all have very similar names. 40 in the Pyragon itself. We do have some additional ammo. You can fit about 100 discs in the gas mask pouch, but these come from a variety of different friends and sources. So I want to say that these are like from Blaster Smiths in Germany. Whatever the Germany tactical gear company was, they sent these forever ago. And so these just hold 10 rounders. Everything's cross compatible in Vortex World. So there's one 10 rounder, and then this one's actually full. And they are a very tight fit because I haven't had the chance to break in this loadout yet. But everything's cross-compatible. A lot of people are like, Drac, make sure you test to make sure that the Pyragon is still compatible with other magazines. And of course it is. They use the same molds, guys. They even have the same batch numbering on them. But so the only other thing in the loadout, because I don't want to be reaching behind myself too terribly much, sometimes I'll put a dump pouch back here for like loose empty magazines, but nobody else is going to be running Vortex for a while, so I feel like I can just litter the field with my magazines for the time being, especially at SC&C Wars. I want to say that this is from the UK supplier, but I have no idea, and it is a full-sized holder. So these came with the Nitron originally. These are 20 round Vortex magazines, and I have a pouch back here that holds a single 20, and then I have the 2 up here that hold the 10. So that's 20-20 vision. 20-20 plus 40 is 80, plus 100 is 180, plus 1. So it's a 181 round Vortex loadout, all delivering very similar performance, all very easily accessed, and it doesn't impact your chest or your compressible area at all. I'm still very mobile this way, and if I go down, you guys are just gonna miss me. But I can go into a tactical squat of sorts. It's very easy to take a knee. I'm super mobile in that way as well, so I can jump up onto things without encumbering my ability to like tuck my knees into my chest. That was a bad example because I have a monstrous iPhone in this pocket right now, which is preventing me from doing that, but still very easy to run in this. And of course we had to add the owl bandana to keep the sweat out of our eyes. But that's the loadout. Let me know, what do you guys think? Should I have gone with a Nitron? I feel like it would have been a little bit more diverse, but Nitrons become boom Nitrons, become ammo hogs, and 181 rounds would be gone like that. So this is a much more my play style, kind of like scout class Vortex loadout, which is why it does not impact mobility or running at all, and it's definitely keeping in mind like reliability, which is why they're both springers. But I like this loadout. I would be just as comfortable like dropping the Pyragon after it's completely empty and going full proton for the rest of the mission. But I think that this actually would be very practical for HVZ, just because the Vortex blasters are really good in HVZ. They're good, quiet, long-range blasters, but also the slam fire in a blaster like this is very useful for horde busting. So a lot of zombies, and at that point you're shooting people who are only 10 feet away from you anyhow, so doesn't really matter. It's nice that you don't have to fool with a breach system in these, so it's not like you have to remember, oh no, it's got to be back. Like, you can reload these at any time, and the paddle reloads on the sides are both ambidextrous and cool. I'm a big fan of the Vortex line. I hope you guys are looking forward to my top 5. If you'd like to influence the top 5, leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know if you were around for Vortex the first go round, what was your favorite Vortex blaster? And as always, like, I'd love feedback on this loadout. I'd love to know, what would I add? Should I put something across my chest? I can't think of anything that's worth adding to here. I could have thrown any bandolier on with this as well, but I really like having the mobility and the ability to just easily drop my primary, especially since this was kind of made with HVZ in mind. Maybe I'll even take it to end war. Who knows? But feedback is always super duper important. I'm about to film the top 5 Vortex thing in the next couple of days, so let me know down in the description box below what your favorite Vortex blaster was. And as always, much love. Nerf on. Drac out.